What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Desmond here with another video. Let's get right into things. This month we will be discussing my family's trip to the Eleuthera, Bahamas. I'm going to be unbiased in my reactions towards it. There was ups and downs to the trip. I just want y'all to have a fair understanding of how our trip went, and also to understand that it's not going to be the same exact thing or same exact experience on every island. As an example, we ended up going to Nassau, which I'll talk about later in the video, and it was completely different from Eleuthera. Nearly 700 islands make up the Bahamas, so it's going to be different everywhere you go. I'm going to be talking over some videos that I was taking during the trip. There were some days where I forgot to take videos, but I was just getting caught up in having too much fun or being highly annoyed that I didn't even want to record anything. So let's get into it, guys. This is a video of us getting on the plane heading to Eleuthera. We were super pumped and the flight was amazing, getting to look out the window and see all the beautiful islands and everything on our way to Eleuthera. Millie and I did some drawing while we were on the flight. Here's a couple more videos and pictures of us while we were on the flight. I just really enjoyed looking out the window. I'm just a big kid, really. Here's a picture of the island when we were coming in for landing. And here's a quick little video of us landing on... Their runway was so short, so they had to really slam on the brakes when we got there. Then we got one of the locals to drive us to where we would be staying, and he shared a little bit about the island with us. And here's the beautiful view from the backyard of the house. It was just amazing, really. And we just started immediately adventuring, going down to, there was a private kind of pier that we went and walked down to, and we immediately got into some swimsuits and started doing some diving. So here comes the first reality check. That night we didn't have any groceries, so we decided to head to one of the local restaurants called Uncle Jean's, and there we waited for 3 hours for our meal. It was unreal. I've never waited that long for food before. We were told in like reviews and stuff that things are on island time, so don't expect things to be rushed. Show up a little earlier for dinner. So we showed up around 5:30, and we didn't leave until about 8:39. So we were originally seated outside, and we were surrounded by some wild like roosters and a couple of kittens that were just hanging out, just minding their business, really. But they looked healthy too, so I was like, I'm guessing they're eating pretty well. They didn't look dirty or anything. The prices are... The prices have to go up there because of just due to the shipping costs and everything. There's a tax called VAT, value added tax. So whatever the original price of something, they're gonna add a percentage of tax to that item when they bring it to the island. So things can get pretty expensive really quickly. Then after about like an hour to an hour and a half of waiting outside, it got kind of dark, and then mosquitoes started to come to the lights. So we decided to move inside and wait for our food in there. We finally got our food. Not gonna lie, it was really good food. It was nice and like it was super hot, so they made sure it was warm and like hot when you got it, but I don't know, it was a really long wait. So we had to entertain ourselves for 3 hours while we were waiting for the food, but when we finally got it, it was delicious. So here was the awesome view that me and Millie got to wake up to every morning. Here was the dock that we would hang out at in the mornings and drink some tea and coffee and just sit down and relax. Then we headed to Spanish Wells so that we could get some groceries for the week. We went and rented some golf carts so that we could get around the island, and I bought myself a cool hat. So here was the inside of the grocery store. Basically your average grocery store, but some things were a little bit more limited than normal, and just the prices were way more expensive. And this was the grocery store back on Eleuthera. The next morning we decided to wake up and do some yoga because we're healthy or whatever. And then we went and headed and dove off the dock again. Then we grabbed the snorkeling gear and decided to do some snorkeling for a little bit. And my mom ended up seeing a stingray.
There's a stingray laying right here.
Oh, really? Give me a thumbs up before you jump in. Okay, bye.
After that, we went to a local beach and saw this little nursing shark. So, we decided not to get in the water. And the owner said he had never seen a shark in over 13 years. And the other locals told us that this nursing shark they had named Remora, and she was completely harmless. After this, we headed to the glass bridge where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Caribbean. And it was really cool, really awesome to see that. That's probably one of the number one things we did on the trip. And we saw this cute little crab.
Get all the way in?
After this, we headed to the Queen's Bath, which was another recommended spot to stop. So I did a little, GoPro type run here through the trail to get there. And then it just turns to straight rocks. There's barely any sand anywhere where we went the whole trip. There's probably like one or two beaches. And I thought this was somebody that I was with. I thought this was one of my family members. And I just start running up on this dude. And he's checked me like 3 times. Like, what is this guy doing? And look at, I get super close to him and just hang out for a second. He is just a poor guy. And then, I decided to leave him alone. Here's my grown-ass brother playing with a stick. So I don't know if you heard that laughing, go back if you didn't. But that was my mom laughing at my brother's friend who we brought with us, who when he got in the water, it was like calm and everything. But as you saw, those waves were coming and the water hit him and it pushed him and he actually fell over. But it happened a second time and he got pushed into the rocks and it kind of cut him up. So she wasn't laughing at that one, but she was laughing when he originally got just pushed into the water. Also, my mom got hurt when she jumped into the Queen's Baths, and that could have been a little bit of karma, but at the same time it was kind of scary because we didn't know this. There was so much foam that was getting made when the waves were crashing that we didn't know where the rocks were or anything, and she tried to brace herself with her hand and actually put her hand right into a sea urchin. So she had like 2 little, pricks. Like, watch out for the sea urchin. Then I went and checked out this nice little cave back here that the water had just eroded away at the rock and just kept going. It got so far back there, I was like surprised. Then of course, we had to take some Insta pics or whatever. The next day we went to another beach and we found some conch shells, and We also saw these little black things. I guess they were like little babies. But yeah, we ended up picking out a couple of conch shells and taking those back home with us. Millie decided to wear some socks in the water like a psychopath. Then we were able to make it to one of the pink sand beaches on the island, and there was a little bit of litter on the rocks, but we didn't let it bother us too much. It was sad to see, but we still had a good time. And then Chuck got chased by some stingrays while we were out there. So this awesome day that we had ended up turning into a total fiasco. So we're driving back from that beach and we stopped by the mango stand and everything, and we're trying to get some pina colada smoothies, and then the power goes out on the island, which happened quite a bit actually. It would just go out for a couple hours and then it would turn back on, and then it might go back out again. But the locals were basically used to it. I mean, it was an inconvenience, but it just happened. So power went out, we didn't get our smoothies, no big deal. So we keep driving back, and then we end up getting a flat tire when we fill the car up with gas. So we have to go over to the tire shop. We went and like got some knickknacks at one of the convenience stores, we got some souvenirs. We drove back to where we were staying. When we get back there, my brother, my stepbrother, and my brother's friend, they all stayed there, and they told us that the power had been out the entire time that we had been gone. So they were just sitting in like 80-degree weather the whole day with no AC, no fans, nothing. And then like also opening the fridge, you know, all the food could have gone bad, so they weren't really eating anything either. We also found out that Roe v. Wade was overturned, so that was wild. But yeah, so it was a lot of just shenanigans going on. We had been planning the entire week for Friday fish fry on the island, where like the entire island gathers near Governor's Harbor, and they have like this big fish fry with fish, chicken, mac and cheese. It didn't close until 11. So we were about to leave right around 7, and then the tire that they had filled up was flat again. So we had to call them, and then they were trying to fix it and everything, and they ended up fixing it, but not until 9 o'clock. And so we were like, okay, it doesn't close until 11, we got time. We get on the roads, it's already like completely dark out on the roads. And then we show up there, it's a 30-something minute drive. We get there around 10:30 to like 10:45. We get to the actual like hut that they're at, and we asked them like, hey, can we get some food? And they said, yeah, we're all out of fish already. We've been out of fish since like 6 o'clock. We have chicken left. And then so we're trying to get our orders in, but like people are just everywhere. And only 2 out of the 7 people we had ended up getting chicken. So we drove 36 minutes for no food at all. The day had already been going bad. Everybody was hungry. It was a bad ride home. It was terrible. Everybody was so silent, it was rough. Then we get back, you know. Yeah, but yeah, that was a bad day. The next day we decided to go on a hike to a cliff nearby where we were staying at, because some of the locals said that you could fish off of there. And Millie decided to run up a hill and got gassed really quickly. So we're gonna have to work on her wind sprints. And while on the trail, we ended up running into a little snake.
Oh shit! Snake!
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right there. He's okay. There's just a little brown snake.
No, it's a leprosy.
We'd reached the end of the trail, and disappointment strikes again with no cliff. But we get back to the house, and then we decided to cut open the coconut that we had bought the day before at the hut and make some homemade pina coladas with a blender that we found.
Becoming true islanders.
Then the blender stopped working as soon as we got enough to make 3 of them for Millie, my mom, and I.
Plastic.
Then we decided as an end of the trip celebration, we would all go eat out again for one last time. And we went to a different spot called Daddy Joe's, And this place was actually really good. I really enjoyed it there. They had really nice music. They had a pool table. And the food was just absolutely amazing.
He ain't get no money.
Better make it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and put that for it. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah. Yeah, well, oh.
So we made it to the last day of the vacation, and you thought the bad news was over with. Like, throughout the entire vacation, having had all those things go wrong, it kind of built up a muscle to where it was like, if something goes wrong, it doesn't even faze me anymore. I'll just roll with the punches almost, you know? I think that was a valuable lesson throughout the entire trip. But we wake up that morning, and of course my mom gets an email that our flight has been canceled to head back home. Then we spend the next 2 hours like on the phone complaining, trying to figure out what to do. We would use Bahamas Air to get to Nassau, spend the night in Nassau, and then wake up the next morning, fly to Charlotte, and then have to drive back at the end of the day. So it was a roundabout way of getting back home, but we made it. And my mom, my brother's friend, and I all ended up getting sick. We had like sore throats and runny noses, just stuffed, congested. We all ended up getting tested, and they all came back negative, so no COVID. It just sucked coming back from vacation, off on like starting off sick and everything. And we all went straight back to work. Like, I went to work 4 days in a row as soon as I got back from vacation. So it was not fun, but you know, we made it. This is the entire airport for Bahamas Air. We waited for about 3 hours for our flight. We landed in Nassau. We stayed at this beautiful home, and we made it to the beach one last time. But at that point, we were all just ready to go back to Greenville and get some rest. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. I know it was a really long one. It was just so much content to pull together, and I hope it serves as a lesson that, you know, not every trip is going to go exactly as planned, but you can't let some inconveniences take away from the entire experience. And yeah, that's basically it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.